Hello and welcome back to another one of our podcasts. My name is Jack and I'm joined once again today by Andrew, Brad and Robyn. How are you all? How are you doing? Good. It's hot. It's very hot. It's absolutely boiling here. But so we're going to be going over and talking about saving time and improving efficiencies in business and for the self-employed. So different things could be, say, like the apps and such that we're using, any kind of cloud software, anything like that. So that's sort of just what we're going to be chatting about. Not necessarily asking lots of questions, but just sort of thinking about stuff that's out there or can help our clients. Just going from there, really. So I don't know if anyone's got any ideas that they want to jump on the table first, or if we just want to start off with the easiest one on apps and talk about apps in the room. QuickBooks. Time efficiency. Easy one to talk about real quick. So, anyone want to start on QuickBooks?
Sales invoices,
yeah.
Automation, because like you think in terms of like old efficiency, like printing, posting, having to, even if you're not doing that and you're writing emails, saving it, writing an email every single time and everything, whereas on QuickBooks, obviously, you have all the templates and you can do email templates. You only have to write it.
Good money saving as well, because with the postage, we used to spend probably £100 a month sending invoices.
Which actually brings on a little plug to a blog post we did recently. So that'll be in the description. So have a look at that about how we've gone over onto using the QuickBooks and the time efficiencies and cost savings we had. So both of those examples are in that blog. So give it a read, definitely. But yeah, so the invoices, like I say, for us. We send, I don't know, however many invoices a month, and beforehand we were doing them by hand, printing them and putting them in the post. But now we've got recurring transactions on QuickBooks, which creates an invoice for us, sends it out to the client for us, and now we've also got direct debits that then get scheduled for us, and then it's all paid, and then the direct debit then marks it off as paid, then it comes into bank and we just match the deposit. So with our invoicing now, we're not actually doing anything, unless it's ad hoc work, obviously, but we're not doing anything for it. So the time saving.
Well, it would have taken us, but I used to do it at night. It's taken about 3 hours.
Well,
a month.
So straight away, that's time that you've got to spend on other things, isn't it?
Yeah. Which again, then with Dext, bringing that into it, with some of our invoices, well, with our clients who have Dext, our invoices are then sent straight to their Dext account. So then it's dealt with in Dext and straight to QuickBooks. So there's a whole host of stuff going on, which I think definitely something I want to talk about is automation of stuff today and time savings. But there's just so many things out there app-wise that can, not just in account sense, but for our clients with, I don't know, there's like for builders, project apps and all that kind of stuff. Whereas before they're going around writing it on a notepad and then trying to figure out what's what, but they can actually, there's an app there or software there that they can use to like actually help them out.
So they can produce invoices from the phone, can't they?
Yeah.
When they're out on site, go out and do a job, ping it straight out.
Yeah. I think with the automation as well, with Dex and QuickBooks, like we can offer more services because we're getting things done quicker.
Yeah.
So it's like more reports to the clients, so they're inside their business. Going forward and like in the past.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, there's much more up-to-date information we've got nowadays.
Real-time information.
We used to be always working retrospectively, and that's not really the best way to do it now.
No. You used to see a client once a year.
That's right, and now it's a bit different.
Yeah.
And that's the good thing about using those kind of apps as well from a business perspective, because you think if you're sending out invoices as soon as you're on site, you can see real-time information of not just being sent to us, but your income that you're making, your expenses that you're making, everything. So you can then kind of look at like your profit and evaluate how to improve things and kind of in real time, rather than always waiting on us to look at past and then give advice on the past.
Yeah, which again is another cost saving as well, because previously if a client wanted an ad hoc profit and loss, they'd have to give us a load of stuff, pay for us to do it, and then pay for like management account service basically. Whereas now the information's there, it's at their fingertips, they can click a button and get a simple profit and loss. Obviously management accounts are still very useful, which we produce, but if they just want a quick how was last month? Here's my income. I spent all this. Oh, my profit's that. Or hang on a minute, why did I spend £5 on stationery? What have I done? Kind of thing. So I think for them, huge. So, and again, time saving, because management accounts aren't quick.
Yeah, that's right.
It takes a little while to do, but they can get that quick P&L just to see where they're at, which is so easy. And then back to Dext again, they're not having to spend so much time collating their paperwork.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. Like, they just get a receipt, take a picture of it, it's done. They can forget about it. They're not then at the end of the month, end of the quarter, end of the year, trying to find all their paperwork because they've left it in their van.
You've got the storage.
And storage, yeah.
Storage costs and
Storage costs. So there's efficiency. You've got more space. Say if you're a shop, you've got more space to store stock in your back room, so then you can sell more. All those kind of things. So all those, I think the apps is definitely a beautiful place to look at for efficiencies, and I'm a big advocate for apps and all that. And technology, I think there's a new app probably coming out most weeks. Like there's so much new technology, not necessarily again just linking with like QuickBooks or any of that kind of stuff, but any kind of thing like rental, for example, rental software. Whereas before that was desktop, quite bad software. Just put it that way. Now you've got cloud-based rental software, where you're hiring out equipment. You can see where your equipment is. You can see if it's PAT test or it's PAT technically is in date, when it's next out on hire, when you last serviced it, if it's machines, and then vehicles if you're hiring out like I don't know if that needs an MOT or service. All that kind of stuff is then in one place, which you can access from your phone and wherever you are. Whereas older stuff like that was all desktop based.
yeah.
Which
Well, the rental one's certainly going to make a difference, isn't it? Because with the MTD coming in for rentals at such a low level, that information will be our fingertips in a manner.
which is a slight plug for Hammock, which we're starting to roll out now for our rental clients. Which again, for them, I think it's more of the software. It's more beneficial to them than us because it's designed by people that rent houses for people that rent houses. That's literally what it is. So you can get all sorts of stuff. And again, on that one,
You
it's
can see
got
your whole portfolio in there.
Yeah. portfolios. You've got your energy certificates on there. What other stuff? What have they got to have each year? Fire safety and stuff.
Gas
Gas
certificates.
certificates, all that kind of that's all stored on there, and it will remind you when it's coming up to
And
do.
you can see the valuation of your portfolio.
It's big plug for Hammock. So that's what we're starting to roll out now and test with our clients. But I think we could go on for ages and talk about cloud software. So I don't know if anyone's got any other efficiencies they want to chuck out before, or we just keep talking about cloud software. I'd keep talking about all day. But.
I know you would. I was going to say about like training for all of these different softwares, kind of linked to it, but you can't necessarily just go on and start using it. You have to kind of learn how to use it so that you can be more efficient in it. Because there's shortcuts and pathways and everything that it's not necessarily clear to
100%.
start off with.
No.
So it's just kind of that to
Yeah.
save efficiency. It's not necessarily time saving to start off with, because obviously it's you're training. It's not profitable time. But yeah, definitely training, definitely learning how to use what. all of this
So
stuff.
I'm a big person that will just jump in and try and use something without doing any training. I will always do that first. Don't know why.
I'll do that first.
I'll always just jump
figure
in.
it out first.
And then what was it? Actually, another shout to another app, Clio. I had a call with them yesterday, and I was showing them some stuff, and they asked me questions about it. They asked me to do something, and I did it in a way, and then they asked me, why did you do it that way? I was like, I don't know, I just sort of just do it that way. And then they said, well, did you know, instead of doing 5 clicks, if you just click that one thing there, it does what you're trying to do. I was like, okay. And they're like, how did you learn how to use Clio? And so I was like, wow. I just sort of dived in and hoped for the best kind of thing. So training, so in that 5 clicks, I know 5 clicks doesn't sound a lot, but for us, when we're working with multiple clients, that 5 clicks adds up and up and up and up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I might actually look at doing some training.
I think also having a chat with like people that use it in the office, or if clients bring us up and ask us ways to do something, rather than them sitting through all like loads of videos as well. It's a quick 2-second conversation.
Definitely.
Just cuts that time.
Yeah, I think, and also because again with like QuickBooks, we're all trained on that. We do lots of training, but they don't necessarily go through all the shortcuts, or if they do,
Yeah.
QuickBooks One shortcuts, I won't really say they're short. Say, I don't know, it's a save and new, it's what, Control Shift S or something, which by the time you've done all that, it's probably not as quick just to click. I guess it's moving your mouse, but what I used to do is I just left my mouse there and just sort of click it, that's what I've got, and just sort of do it, which will bring me on to something else I want to talk about. Like, it was about new technologies, about hardware. Actually, I know what I'm going to talk about on that one, efficiencies, but training's a big thing. We do loads of training in here, and I'm sure our clients do also lots of training, because there's some things that you can just go out and do, but without taking any credit away from anyone that does anything. But there's some things you give a go, and you get a mediocre outcome. You know, we've got some clients that do their own bookkeeping. They've never been trained on doing it. It's a mediocre outcome. It's not absolutely terrible, but it's not where we would have it. So there's still stuff we need to do on it. But then they've had no training, so they've given it a go. And again, that's another conversation another day with bookkeeping and people think they can do
that can be a false economy for the client.
Yeah.
But then you think, how long does it take them to do that in a mediocre way when they haven't had the training?
Exactly. So whereas we're training it, we're obviously a lot quicker at it, but some of them see as the cost, that line item, say bookkeeping a month.
Yeah.
They look at that. But then at the end of the year, when we're redoing it, and they get a bill for us redoing it, there's actually more than what it would have cost a month. They say false economy. But again, that could be a whole subject on another day. Whole different subject. But training's a big thing.
Yeah.
But,
and I wanted to go off as well what you said about like bringing other people's ideas in. Another way of like time saving efficiency, like employee ideas, like as a boss, listening to what your employees are telling you on how they think processes can be improved, because you think they're the ones mostly doing it.
Exactly.
Unless you're really hands on.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, everyone's going to have all these different ideas that you can kind of take into account and evaluate things and make things better.
Yeah, I would agree. I'd like to think we're quite good at that here.
Yeah, I think so.
Unless you guys would disagree.
Yeah.
You can disagree if you want, I'll just cut it out. Because like you say, especially not on whole about you don't get involved nowadays in the day-to-day stuff with the client. You potentially could say you don't have you do obviously have an idea what they're doing out there, but you guys are the ones doing the bulk of the work. I still do some of it, but not as much as you guys doing it day in, day out. So what's the point in us saying, you guys do this, when you go, actually, I've been doing it like this, and it works better. So I guess it comes back to what we were talking about the other day about trying to uniform our processes.
Yeah.
We're not trying to say everybody has to do it one way, but we're just trying to work out how everybody does it, and then figure out the best way, or making sure everybody, like bringing ideas from the table from everybody to sort of, so you could do something one way, and Robyn's been doing it some other way, and it turns out actually you've shaved off however many seconds per, like if it's a transaction, those so many seconds over 100 transactions, you know,
saves a lot of time.
Yeah, adds up. And some of those things are a bit tedious, like bookkeeping's a bit tedious, you know, if you've sat there, you're doing some of our bigger clients like a month's worth of 1,000 worth of invoices, after a while it gets a bit, you know, tedious. And so if there is better ways of doing it, then
I think as well, like when you say find a new app that you want to try, and we all actually take it out into practice and have a go at it, I think we sort of realise a lot of problems, if there is any, and how it's going to work actually when we're working all the time on it. Yeah,
exactly. There's I have loads of meetings with new apps. It gets annoyed me about that, but I get shown the best bits on these demos, and they're never going to show me the little bits that are a bit hard to do. I get shown that, I'm like, amazing, I want it. But obviously then we try it out. There's one, for example, I'm not going to mention it because we're probably not going to use it, but we've been testing it for testing it on and off for quite some time now. It's not quite what we want. Again, you actually had the demo on this one, you had the demo, it looked good, then I had another demo, I thought it looked good, but then in practice us using it, probably not quite where we wanted it, not quite as time efficient as we expected that one to be.
Mm.
I'm assuming you know the one I'm talking about. Yeah, cool. But also that one would be quite a big change. So that's the other thing with time efficiencies is change isn't always a bad thing. And again, shout out to the blog, that's in there as well, that we wrote earlier, down description. Change isn't always a good thing, but it's not always a bad thing. And I reckon in that scenario there, obviously, people in the office don't always like change. Sometimes I've forced change on people, but then the outcome's actually been, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
For example, when we brought Dext in and started using that, there was people in the office said, it's taking too long, we're doing this and doing that. But now, if it's not on Dext, we get annoyed.
Never go back.
Yeah, we're never going back. But this one, I think if we forced this change onto people, I don't think it would have been as good, and I think it would have annoyed you guys, which goes back to your employee feedback thing.
I think it's a consistency as well, like you've got to stick with something to actually try it out.
Yeah.
A lot of the new clients, when we introduced Dex to them, they didn't really like the idea. They just liked giving us the paperwork, letting us deal with it. But now, when we're not asking for the missing receipts at the end of the year, it's saved them a lot more time in the long run.
Oh, that's got to annoy them. It annoys us, and it's got to annoy them as well.
Yeah.
Like, can I have this receipt from January last year, please? And they're like, well, where is it? Or, you know, what's going on? If you're doing annual accounts, that is obviously. That will annoy them. And then they'll say, I've given it to you. Well, I haven't got it.
Can you not?
And then we go back and forth. Then there's a Grind My Gears episode on our TikTok, shout out TikTok, in down the description. It's just, I think in that scenario, clients, it saves them a lot of time. And again, Dext is another line item they see on their invoice. So they're probably thinking, I'm paying for more software, but actually the amount it costs, I think the minimum fee we have for Dext is like £5 a month. I think how much time that's saving them, if you think how much income they're now getting from that time and they're focusing on their business. Well, not even necessarily their business, like maybe that bit of time they then spend with their family. Because a lot of people from our clients don't, like our single directors, they don't deal with the paperwork in the day. They're doing their job in the day, they go home.
That's right, and they've got to spend evenings.
They spend their evenings doing it. So potentially with these things, it's not necessarily time efficiency in the business, but they're saving time at home, spending more time with family, which is obviously really everyone's end goal in it with a business. They want to make lots of money, have a good life, and spend time with family, spend money with the family kind of thing. So I think that's definitely something there to go with.
I'll spend enough time with you, Jack.
Yeah, that's why I moved out. So yeah, I think definitely there's that with those ones, but so.
And another thing with employees, like I think it's important to have flexibility with your employees in terms of how they work, where they work, like, because it promotes like a more positive work environment. If you think your employees, if they have a delivery at home, like a washing machine or something, they would have to take off like half a day, a whole day. But if they're working at home, they can take 5 minutes, let the bloke in to put the put the washing machine in, and then they could go back to working, and it's efficient. And you think it creates, as I say, a more positive work environment, so your employees are going to be more wanting to work efficiently and effectively for you.
Definitely. You literally pulled that example out of our Flexiworking policy.
Right.
I did. So definitely. So before COVID, before lockdown, I guess we were flexible with people in the sense of we had toil, that kind of thing, time off in lieu, I don't know. But we weren't flexible because we had desktop PCs. It's hard to say, got a washing machine coming tomorrow, I'm just going to shift my PC, take it out of midnight and run an Ethernet through your house to plug it in, because none of them had Wi-Fi in them or anything. Obviously COVID hit, you all got sent home with a desktop PC, but wasn't too much of an issue because it was there for quite some time, let's say. Obviously a desktop PC takes up quite a lot of space, and you literally did have an Ethernet cable running through your house. I think you did up the stairs. So not practical. So then when we come back, the plan always was to buy laptops, but we wasn't going to do it soon because there's nothing wrong with PCs. But when we come back into office, we then did buy laptops, which again cost, but the efficiencies from it.
Oh yeah, but you're still getting someone working.
Yeah, and then we are flexible with you guys. If you need to work from home, you can work from home. Or I'm sure Kim won't mind me mentioning, but if you have to work in Scotland for a week because you need to go up there to see your family, you can work in Scotland for a week now. So definitely, and I think that will always give a positive impact. And I think also from an employer's point of view, you would then think, or your employers would then be more likely to give back to you. So then if you needed something extra, they'd probably be more willing to say, yeah, okay, I'll help you out, because there's a bit of to and fro.
That's give and take, and there's both works both ways.
Yeah, so I think definitely works in that sense. But then, like, if you needed some extra holidays, you need a bit of extra holidays, so you're going to work up some toil to cover that extra day. You can do that now. You don't have to sit in the office at 5 till however long. You can go home, continue, or on the weekend do something if that's what you want to do on the weekends. And, you know, it's not. You can build that up. It's not an issue. Whereas before,
well, you couldn't have done it before.
You couldn't have done it, especially beforehand as well. Not as many people had keys, so you didn't have keys for a while. For example, so if you wanted to build something up, one of us would have to stay, so we could then lock up after, or you just wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah.
Which,
kind of defeats the whole flexibility thing. Cause
because it's not very
flexible. Because you have other people to
you got to do it when I
around.
want you to do it.
Yeah.
Whereas now, obviously, everyone's got keys to get into the office. So yeah, it definitely makes that easier.
So it's, to kind of summarise that, it's important to let employees have access to either where you're working, not necessarily buy laptops, but have access in other places where they can access, like, not necessarily when other people are around.
Yeah, definitely. And this is obviously more focused at office-based people. Because if you're on a building site, you can't really do flexi working as such. Well, you know, you probably still can, but it'd be in a different scenario, won't it? I'm sure it's not too much of an issue. But from an employee's point of view then, how does it make you feel having a flexi working policy? Like,
I think it takes like the stress of workloads off your shoulders a bit more, so you're not rushed on time to try and get it in 9 to 5 each day. There is that opportunity to do a few hours at home if you need to.
Okay. I like it because it just takes away the stress of if anything happens at home or if anything's going on personally, you can kind of work around it and like, as long as nothing else is going on in the office that we need to be here for, most of the time we can jump away if we need to, or even if stuff is getting overwhelming, we just jump off and it's fine. It's not a problem.
It's like work-life balance as well. I think would probably help with. I think the washing machine one is always a good example, but because a washing machine you can't leave with a neighbour. It has to be, you have to have someone there. A lot of the time your small Amazon parcel will either stick it in the green bin or leave it with a neighbour. That's not an issue as such. It's just those big things. Or if it's an expensive item, they won't leave them with neighbours. For example, you ordered a new phone, you have to be there. Obviously, not at the moment, we're still not signing for anything, so that's not an issue as such. It's just they won't leave it in your bin. So if you've ordered a £1,000 iPhone, they're not gonna. There'll be a note on it. It cannot be left.
Yeah, and it's like if you woke up and your car's not started.
Yeah.
You don't have to think, oh God, I've got to get it fixed. I've got to get a taxi. Got to get a bus. Just let me know.
Yeah, exactly. You just phone up, message saying, look, car's not started. I'm gonna work from home because you need to then sort people out. You got someone's coming around. Actually, I got a chip fixed in my window the other day on my car.
Yeah.
For some reason, they wouldn't do it here because you sometimes can get them done here, but it was done on the driveway. I just worked at home. He turned up, and that was that. It was easy. I just I think I was away from my desk for a max of 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Just opening the door. There's the car keys. He does his thing. Doesn't give them back to me. So I think Flexiworking.
Yes.
But I think also then with that, if your employees are more positive and wanting to work, you will get more efficiencies from them because you will in turn work harder, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
But, okay. One other thing I was going to talk about was the hardware efficiencies.
Yeah.
So we're going very software based now, and we're getting rid of paperwork, but I still like a bit of hardware. So recently we were testing out stream decks, which I'll put a link down below to what they are. They're really cool. Basically, they're designed for gamers, basically, and streamers, hence the name Stream Deck. It's just a block of keys and macro keys and stuff. We were talking about shortcuts earlier. So on this thing you can set up shortcuts. So we're talking about the QuickBooks shortcuts, for example. You've got to press 3 keys to do one item. But now on this Stream Deck I've got to set up, I'll press 1 key, so then it presses all 3 keys for me. And yesterday I did get very excited. I called Andrew over to show this new thing that I've figured out is I can actually get it to move my mouse and click.
Oh wow.
Which is
fancy.
yeah,
that's
really
exciting.
cool. So I've worked out there's a lot of tedious jobs again, which is lots of clicks. So for example, adding an asset onto the tax return to sort out capital allowances. There's 1, 2, 3 clicks before you even get to typing in what it is and the date and stuff, which is really annoying. And there's this new pop-up window in TaskCalc, which I don't know what's there. So if TaskCalc, for any reason you're watching this, I doubt you've either sorted out. I've now got it, so I press 1 button and it clicks all of these boxes and then sticks me into the box ready for me to type. So I'm no longer moving my mouse around and clicking stuff, which to some people probably think, oh God, what a job's worth. You know, you can't
Don't
click
say
anymore.
things.
I know. But again, like yesterday, it was only 5 assets yesterday I was adding. But if you've got someone that's bought 20 assets in a year, that's a long process.
It is time consuming.
It is a long process. So that 1 button now actually is sorted it out. But then I've got another button and that then clicks the close button, because in TaskCalc there's not a lot of shortcuts you can use. So I've got that one, type in my thing, put in the date, put in the amount, and then I've got another button there that then moves my mouse down to the bottom and clicks close. And then I'll just hit the next one, then it'll open up the window again. So just from those buttons there, we're saving time, and it's a big efficiency. The Stream Deck is that one anyway was £139, I think. Which again, when I mentioned about getting more of them, you're like, that's going to be like 700 quid. Yeah, that outlay for a bit of hardware actually I think could save tons of time. There's a small one I've been playing around with BrightPay. And I've now got a button that no matter what window you're in, it will submit the RTI for you. It will just click
nice,
around.
nice.
And also press a button that will pay off the HMRC payment screen. So all these cool things, and check for coding notices, post a journal, just buttons now, rather than click, 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 click.
Yeah, because there is an awful
There's a lot of
lot
clicks in what we do. So these, and again, if you're doing one client, those clicks are probably totaling 10 seconds, but when we're running our monthly payrolls, we're doing 20 each or whatever it is. Those clicks add up. And so payrolls aren't the most exciting thing. And earlier on, after I've made these buttons, I was looking to see if I had any other payrolls I could run. Like, it makes it a bit more fun. You know, you've got these buttons you can play around with. So, but that could just be me wanting to
It
play
might
buttons.
just be you.
It might possibly be me. But I think it's really cool. So,
Yeah.
so there's loads of new technology, which loads of people are scared of technology. But again, I'm a big advocate of just embracing technology, trying it out, testing it out. And I did. So we didn't actually buy that. I bought it for my other business, and it turns out actually this business is using it so much more. It's actually not as effective in my other business. So sometimes it doesn't work. And £140. Granted, I had another opportunity to use it elsewhere. But £140, some people they might be, oh no, what do I?
Yeah.
I've got this thing here that's not really worked how I wanted it to work. What you do, but yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely all about kind of testing things and just seeing what works. Yeah.
Exactly. Not everything's going to work. I think that's the big thing of don't be scared to try it, but also don't be scared to fail. There's been so many apps we've tried that
they've not all been
don't
successful.
work, they're not great. Well, no, so the app could be great for what it is, but for us and for what we want to do, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But there's try and error in it. There's a lot of things in life you've got to try. And
I think things can only get faster as well with the new technologies and everything else. So it's
exactly.
like, what's the worst thing that can happen? It can't get any slower.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I'll say that, knock it till you try it.
Yeah.
Something like that. There you go. But I think we've been chatting for quite a while, so I don't know if has anyone got anything else they want to chat about, or should we?
No.
No, that's
Yeah.
all.
I think we'll leave it there. So, but thank you very much for watching this podcast again. Slightly different setup this time, so hopefully you preferred it. But let us know in the comments if you do or don't. But we'll be back again next month with more podcasts. But make sure you like, share, subscribe, check in all the links in the description that we've got. Look at our Instagram, TikTok now, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. But otherwise, thank you very much for joining again, everybody. But we will see you next time. Cheers.